Hey guys, it's Will here again, and once again I've got another battle report for you. Tonight, my Craftworld Eldar taking on Sam's Space Wolves. These are both armies that you've seen on the channel before, but the Space Wolves have been changed up a lot tonight. He's got some new units, some new tricks he's trying, so be interesting to see how they go. As usual, it's going to be Maelstrom of War, 1750 points. We've yet to roll for mission yet, but we will do that shortly. But anyway, without further ado, on to the armies. So here's my Biel Tan Eldar army. This is the same list I used for the COG 1750 back in the summer. So an army I'm familiar with and I know has a good history of success. So I've got my Farseer here as my warlord. He's got a Singing Spear and a Spirit Stone of Anathlan. And then he's got a unit of 3 jet bikes with him, with the Shuriken Cannon upgrade. And then there's 2 further units of jet bikes with scatter lasers. So that's my troops. My elite choice is my Wraith Guard with the Wraith Cannons, and they've been accompanied by my HQ Spirit Seer, no upgrades on him, and they're riding in a Falcon with Twin Link Bright Lancers. Then the rest of the army consists mostly of Aspect Warriors and their transports. So my first Aspect host is 6 Dire Avengers with an Exarch in a Falcon that's been brought as a heavy support choice. That's also got the Bright Lance upgrade on there. Then we've got a unit of 10 Dire Avengers, and they're in a Wave Serpent dedicated transport with the Shuriken Cannon upgrade under there. And they've got the Exarch as well, and both Exarchs have shimmer shields and power weapons. I think particularly the shimmer shield is really worth getting on them, especially in the larger units. And then the third unit to that Aspect host is 4 Dark Reapers, again with the Exarch upgrade and the Star Shot and Star Swarm missiles. Then I've got 2 units of Warp Spiders, starting off a second Aspect host here, both with Exarchs with the Twin Linked Death Spinner. And finally a unit of 6 Swooping Hawks, again with an Exarch upgrade. So that is 1750 points of Eldar. And here's Sam's Space Wolf army. Now this is a complete rewrite of his previous list, changed things up a lot. First time he's featured the Champions of Fenris rules on the channel, so he can have elites as his compulsories instead of troops. So with that in mind, he's got a Venerable Dreadnought here with a Great Axe and a Blizzard Shield in a drop pod. Then 3 units of Wolf Guard. These are Wolf Guard in power armour as opposed to how they're normally seen with the Terminators. We've got 5 Combi Flamers in this one, 5 Combi Plasmas and 5 Combi Melters, and they're all riding in drop pods as well, so he's got a potent little Alpha Strike going on here potentially. Although I think this list is still kind of work in progress. I imagine we'll see a 5th drop pod soon. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. Then we've got his Wolf Lord here. He's got a Frostblade, Runic Armour and a Jump Pack, and then a unit of 5 Long Fangs with 4 las cannons. And the Wulfen only faced these boys once before, and they can be truly terrifying if they get into combat, so yeah, going to need to deal with them early on. Although I do notice they don't have a transport, so they're going to rely on running at me. 2 units of 3 Thunderwolf Cavalry in each. Yeah, Thunderwolf Cavalry. This guy's got their hammer and shield. These other 2 are they regular close combat weapons? Or yeah, so they're just regular close combat weapons, although they have rending and shields on there. And then these guys have 2 with shields and combat weapons and 1 with a pair of lightning claws. Finally, he's got this formation here, which is the Wolfkin. You get 2 units of Fenrisian Wolves and slam them together to make 1 big unit. So he's got 2 units of 7, making 14 in total, and for doing that formation they gain Monster Hunter. So that is 1750 points of Space Wolves. Be very interesting to see how this very different sort of list works against the Eldar. But anyway, time to roll for missions and deploy. So on this Ruins and Dead Trees board here at 40k Gaming, we've rolled up the Deadlock scenario. So it will be 6 objectives on the first turn, reducing by 1 every turn. The Eldar actually have 7 objectives, because I've rolled up well prepared as my warlord trait. Space Wolves are going first, and a lot of his army is off the board in drop pods, but he has deployed his Fenrisian Wolves over here, his Longfangs obviously on the scenery, with the objective in there as well. Then 2 units of Thunderwolves flanking the I've forgotten what they're called, Wulfen, that's it. It's going to be one of those knights, isn't it? So they've got first turn at the moment. With all the drop pods coming down, I was keen to protect my Farseer, so he's kind of in the middle of that unit, flanked by 2 grav tanks with a building in front. Left my Dark Reapers in here because it gives them a great field of fire over the battlefield. And then I've put my other units over here holding the objectives and looking to get some early shots off into the Thunderwolves and the Wulfen. But yeah, before we do anything, Eldar need to try and seize the initiative. Sam's single least favourite rule in the whole of 40k. But it's only a 3 today, so no seize. Space Wolves first turn. So, Space Wolf turn 1, and a big selection of objectives, most of which involve blowing stuff up and getting into combat. So his 2 drop pods come down very aggressively. First the Melter pod comes in and opens up on the Wave Serpent. I jinked, and thanks to Night Fight and some lucky rolling, literally took no damage. He got 3 penetrating hits, but I rolled 336 on my cover saves, and yeah, thanks to Jink and Night Fight, the Wave Serpent is unharmed. The Flamer squad that came down here likewise didn't fare too well. They got 20 hits on the Dark Reapers, but only managed to kill 2 of them, thanks again to some terrible dice rolling from these boys. And the Reapers then passed their leadership check as well, so they're not going anywhere. Las Cannons from the Devastators then tried to deal with the Wave Serpent, and as was pretty much the story of the turn, 4 shots, only 1 hit, and didn't penetrate the armour. So by that point Sam just threw away his dice and got some new ones, which then led to some rather good run rolls. These guys coming up at me very fast, and these 2 units holding back just enough to score him hold the line for 1 point. So he scored hold the line and also secure objective 6, but some of his objectives, like Big Game Hunter and Overwhelming Firepower, alas didn't quite come off. So the Eldar have been spared the worst of the Space Wolves Alpha Strike, and now it's time for us to deal with these guys. Here we go, Eldar turn 1. So, a nice little selection of objectives here. I've got No Prisoners, Recon, Secure 4, Secure 5, Assassinate, Scour the Skies, and Blood and Guts. So Blood and Guts and Scour the Skies we can immediately forget about. And 4 was right over there. I could have got a jet bike squad to it, it would have been suicide. Then my main focus was clearing out the 2 Wolf Guard units that were here in the centre. So the pack that were here with the Melter weapons, the Farseer doomed them in the psychic phase before his jetbike squad and the Dire Avengers who'd disembarked from the Falcon opened up on them, wiped them out, and then the Wave Serpent, the Falcon and the other jetbike unit that were here wiped out the second squad. So that's that threat dealt with. That left these jet bikes to move down the flank and secure objective 5. They are a little bit vulnerable there now from the Thunderwolves, although that squad has lost a member and taken a wound from the fire of the Falcon and the Dire Avengers. And this Wave Serpent I think tried to but didn't do any damage thanks to having Jink last turn. So all in all, a pretty successful Eldar turn. Farseer did suffer a wound from a perils in the psychic phase, and he actually tried to pop off Eldritch Storm on these guys, but and it went off, but he passed all his saves, so nice one Sam there. You've not all had bad luck, but your saves were a bit low average, so it's not a good day for Sam, but you know, he's still got a lot to come in and deal with me. So points wise, I've got No Prisoners because I killed a unit, Recon 5, Assassinate for the sergeants in the Wolf Guard units, and then I got First Blood as well, so a very nice little first turn there, and we go on to Space Wolf turn 1 with the Eldar in a 5-2 lead. So as we start the second Space Wolf turn, only 1 drop pod came in, disembarked the Plasma squad into the rear of the Wave Serpent. That was blown up by a combination of fire from the Longfangs and the Wolf Guard. It was the Wolf Guard who dealt the final blow. Just too many penetrating hits even for me to save with all the jinx, so that got wrecked. That scored him Big Game Hunter and also Overwhelming Firepower, so nice little move there. Now you'll notice the Wolf Guard and the Thunderwolves have all gone a very long way. He rolled a 5 on the Wulfen bonus table and both Thunderwolf units were in range. This meant that they got +3 to their move and then +3 to their charge. Combine that with being cavalry and re-rolling charges, these guys got a huge distance, but then only managed to do 2 hull points and stun this tank. Over here, the other Thunderwolves managed to get into combat with a Wraith Guard, killed 2 of them, put a wound on. Killed 3 of them, and put a wound on the Spirit Seer. My original hope was I could have disembarked to this side, but there wasn't enough room for them to all be there, so a few got left on this side because I couldn't be within an inch of them. They got charged, and yeah, they're in a state. And the Wulfen, unsurprisingly, with their reroll charge range and run charge, charged the jet bike unit that were there and wiped them out. So yeah, the assault was absolutely deadly this turn. The only unit that didn't get to charge from the Space Wolf side were those that had arrived by Deep Strike, the heavy weapons squad, and this big old pack of wolves. So points wise, he scored Unleash the Wolves, a killer unit in combat, Big Game Hunter, Overwhelming Firepower, and I think there was another one, wasn't there? No, I said that one. Oh, just the 3. Okay, so he just got the 3 points, which gives him a total of 5 now. And yeah, these wolves are really bearing down on my position. But we have some Eldar reserves to roll for. Firstly, 2 units of Warp Spiders. Yes, and a unit of Swooping Hawks. Yes, so all my reserves are coming on as we head into the second Eldar turn. So, with the 3 new Eldar units all turning up in the Eldar backline and rolling pretty well for their scatters on the spiders, Hawks obviously didn't need to worry about scatter and proceeded to drop their grenade packs on the Wulfen. Only did a single wound to them though. Those Wulfen are surprisingly tough. The 2 Warp Spider units claimed me Objective 4, which I had 2 copies of as secure objective, and the other Warp Spider unit, the 2 units wiped out the Long Fangs, so that's his heavy support dealt with, and an objective claimed, so don't mind if I do. Now down here, the Thunderwolves were right up in my grill, and I really needed to stop them. So the tank and the Dire Avengers disembarked from the Wave Serpent, shot them up, killed about half of them. The tank put another wound on them before this Avenger unit finished them off. Along with, I think, this scatter pack as well. It took a lot of fire to do it, but we got there in the end. There was also this threat of the Wolf Guards with the plasma weapons. I killed them using the Farseer's Jetbike squad and then finished them off with the Dark Reapers. Although I say finished off, there is still one dude left there, and he passed his leadership test, but he's now a single bolt gun armed veteran, so he's less of a concern. In this little fight here, the Spirit Seer cast Invisibility, and successfully cast it, but Perils killed himself and a Wraith Guard in the ensuing Perils result, but it meant the squad was invisible, so they are going to stick around and hold up those Wolf Guard a little bit longer, meaning they're not so much a threat. Other than that, units just really pulled back. I'm feeling a little bit log-jammed here, but I need to stay away from the Fenrisian Wolves and the Wulfen and deal with that Dreadnought if it comes on next turn as well. But points-wise, 2 copies of Secure Objective 4. Behind enemy lines from the Swooping Hawks, I'm going to discard Blood and Guts because I really don't want to get into combat. And I'm holding Supremacy. I didn't quite score it. If that one last wolf there, if I'd bothered to shoot him, I'd have had Supremacy, but we didn't quite get it. But it's okay, that's another 3 points to the Eldar. And yeah, things aren't looking too bad, we're just a little bit boxed in here. Sam has 1 reserve unit to roll for, the Venerable Dreadnought in drop pod. And it's a 4. Here comes the Dreadnought. Space Wolf, turn 3. So, Space Wolf turn 3. The drop pod comes down here to try and contest Objective 4, which he had as an objective, and drops out the Dreadnought to threaten the Warp Spiders. Wulfen had another successful turn, swooping round here and wrecking the Falcon, so they've been pretty decent. And these Thunderwolves finally broke through their combat with the Invisible Wraithguard, but that was kind of as planned, because now they're out in the open, I can actually shoot them, they're not stuck in combat, and it's my turn next. This single dude here fired his bolt gun at the jet bikes for no effect, and all 4 drop pods, I think, all 4 drop pods targeted the Dire Avengers, killed one and put a wound on the Exarch. He still needs a leadership, which he's passed, that's fine. And then, these guys were the unfortunate story of the turn. They got within 5 inches of the Dire Avengers, lost 2 to Overwatch fire, but then rolled a 3 for their assault. Now, they lose the reroll for fleet because of the jump pack guy in there. So yeah, that was a bit unfortunate, to be honest. That cost Sam the chance to get 3 points there rather than just 1 for Blood and Guts. So yeah, what did you score in the end? Was it just Blood and Guts, or...? Yeah, so he had 4 objectives. He scored Blood and Guts, discarded Domination, and is still holding Objective 4, which is over here contested by the drop pod, and Oath of Vengeance, which he basically needs to kill this Exarch for. So yeah, not the greatest turn. I mean, he's wiped out some threats over on this side, but yeah, these guys are now kind of stuck in the open. The Wulfen might be a sitting target. So yeah, as we go into the 4th Eldar turn, there are certainly opportunities here. So, starting the Eldar turn with my 4 objectives: Secure 1, Supremacy, Secure 3, Secure 5 and Kingslayer. It's only the 3rd turn, so I've still got 4 objectives. Yeah, need to deal with that Dreadnought first, because I didn't want that charging my Warp Spiders. So 1 squad to the front, 1 running around the back. I managed to do enough glancing hits on it to hull point it. So yeah, that's a dead Dreadnought and 2 very relieved squads of Warp Spiders. Over here, I had Kingslayer, so I wanted to kill this guy, but unfortunately the combined firepower of the Dire Avengers and their Wave Serpent, which shot off its shields, wasn't enough to wipe out the unit. Did force a leadership test and kill more than half the wolves, but yeah, not a scratch on the leader, and they're not running anywhere, so that Wolf Lord is still a big threat. Then the Wulfen. The Wulfen did not have a good day. They got doomed by the Farseer in the Psychic phase, before being wiped out by the firepower of the Farseer's jet bikes, the Scatter jet bikes, and these Dire Avengers. So bye-bye Wulfen. Sam had some unlucky dice rolls there, but the amount of firepower was really the telling factor there. This little dude had a lucky escape. He got shot by... he's the last of the last of the Wolf Guard, got shot by the last of the Dark Reapers, the Exarch in there. But yeah, managed to not do any wounds to him, despite having 3 strength 5 AP3 shots. So yeah, and the Thunderwolves lost another one to the fire of the Swooping Hawks, who'd come over here to claim Objective 5. Love those Swooping Hawks, they've been doing good for me today. So all in all, a pretty solid turn for the Eldar. I've scored Objective 1, oh no I haven't, no, I've scored Objective 5, and Supremacy, 1, 2, 3. Yes, I think I've scored... Oh no, it's 3-2. I've not quite scored Supremacy. So it's just the 1 point, but, you know, we're running out of Space Wolves to shoot here, so next turn will be all about scoring the points. Going to keep hold of all 3 of these, because they are all quite doable. And, yeah, hand off to the Space Wolves' 4th turn. Just a slight correction on the Eldar turn there. We were a bit unsure about Supremacy, but when we measured it, this one is actually contested. So the Eldar have that one over there, and that one there. And the Space Wolves are actually only holding Objective 1 with these drop pods. The other ones they hold 4 and 2 are contested. So Eldar do score Supremacy. So let's have a little roll. It's only 1 point, but that's an objective scored, which is no bad thing. Anyway, let's try Space Wolf turn 4 again. So, the few surviving Space Wolf units are all aiming to get into combat. These wolves made it in against the Warp Spiders. You'll note that the Wolf Lord has left them to join the Thunderwolves. 1 apiece there. Some pretty poor rolling from the wolves, actually. But either way, that combat's sticking at stalemate. Down here, this one surviving Wolf Guard shot for the jet bikes but didn't do any damage. The drop pods did rather well though. They killed 2 of the swooping hawks and the survivor of the Dark Reapers, so that's pretty useful. And then the Thunderwolf and the Wolf Lord who joined him put a wound on the Exarch in a challenge and killed another Dire Avenger. Some lucky Shimmer Shield shaves saved me there. I didn't do anything back, but we held. Points wise, that scored him Hungry for Glory for the challenge, but not a lot else. And as we head into the 4th Eldar turn, things are a little bit looking like they're in the Eldar's favour here. So, bottom of the 4th as we head into the Eldar turn, I've still got Kingslayer, as well as Strands of Fate and Secure Objective 1, which effectively both become Secure Objective 1. So that was my go-to objective for this turn. The Avengers moved up and ran round here, killed the last surviving wolves. The Warp Spiders had just disengaged from combat thanks to hit and run, and came over here with the help of the Swooping Hawks and the Scatterbite, wiped out the drop pod that was holding Objective 1 to secure that, while these spiders put 2 hull points onto this pod. The one surviving Space Wolf in here was killed by the tank, and the Farseer and his unit put another hull point onto that drop pod, so we're starting to thin them out. The combat was ongoing here, so I couldn't target the Warlord and the last Thunderwolf with my shooting because they were stuck in combat with the Dire Avengers. They killed most of them, including the Exarch, and the one survivor is running away. Other than that, these jet bikes lost one due to dangerous terrain, and I'm electing to keep them in there rather than jump them out. I am going to jump my Farseer's unit in a minute though, but as the turn ends, got 2 copies of Secure Objective 1, but I'm going to hold on to Kingslayer, because I will get that, just not today, well not this turn. And so as we enter the final Space Wolf turn, with all due respect to Sam, he is got 2 mobile models left on the board and 3 immobile drop pods, so it's going to be a tough one, but we know what the Astartes are like, they never give up until it's over. Here we go with turn 5. So the 5th Space Wolf's turn was not a good turn to be a jet bike. Lost one over here to the fire of the drop pods, but more importantly, the Thunderwolf and the Wolf Lord successfully charged my Farseer's unit. Farseer got killed in a challenge by the Wolf Lord, and then the Thunderwolf killed another jet bike, and they failed the leadership and ran off the board. So yeah, I'm left with just a single jet bike on the board, but still got these guys and a tank and my aspects up, so on the whole pretty good, but a good scoring turn there, because he got Warlord, he got a couple of other points, kill something in combat, was it, or psychological warfare, and because that Avenger Exarch had finally died, he scored Oath of Vengeance. So a pretty good scoring turn for the Space Wolves, but they're now in a slightly vulnerable position here as we head into what could be the final Eldar turn. So 5th Eldar turn, I got Harness the Warp, yay, just after my Psyche has been killed. So it all came down to Kingslayer and just finishing off the surviving models. So yeah, as you can see, it's turned into a little bit of a whitewash for the Eldar here. This pod was wrecked by the Warp Spiders, this one by the Swooping Hawks. His general was killed by combined fire from the Warp Spiders and the tank, allowing the Dire Avengers to finish off the Thunderwolf. So that's all his mobile units gone, and most of his drop pods as well. So at that point, we've called it. Good game, Sam. Thanks for a good game. Handshake on camera. Yeah, Eldar got a bit lucky there, to be honest. I mean, they were a strong list, but the Space Wolves certainly were no slouches. But the dice were just so much in my favour there. I almost kind of feel bad for Sam. But yeah, thanks a lot for watching, and join us in a minute for the post game. Right, so after 5 turns and a virtual massacre, it ended up 14-10 to the Eldar. So not as big a win as it looked on the table, but still a convincing victory there.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
would have gone better if my dice had actually bloody worked. Changed my dice after turn 1 because, you know. so many crappy rolls, and I still rolled crappy.
Yeah, dice just completely let you down, which is obviously the only way I beat you, because the dice let you down.
No,
Nothing to do with clever tactics or good list design at all.
Well, the thing is, it looked like I was going to roll you sort of my turn 2, because I had all most of my units in combat. I still had a unit to come into combat.
Yeah.
So I looked like I was in a good position, and then the dice went, no, we're just going to not work now.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, I'm going to shoot you back, and the dice were like, yeah, we don't. What are saves?
Yeah, I think every unit in my army, with the possible exception of the Wraith Guard, who kind of got a little bit in the wrong position, just didn't anticipate how fast those Thunderwolves would come in.
Yeah, I was a bit shocked at when they moved 15, charge 2d6 plus 3. I was like, oh, bloody hell.
But apart from that, I think everything in the army did its job exactly as I expected. Everything. It wasn't I had amazingly good luck, it just everything worked as it should have done.
Yeah.
And so even though I got assaulted a little bit more than I planned for, generally the plan just came together and it just worked.
You were a bit backed into the corner.
I was backed into the corner, but that's because I was stepping back off you, and then I went over the top with the warp spiders.
Yeah, I say, that's the thing. You can, the army you deploy can afford to be backed in the corner because you put 3 more aspect warriors in reserve. So they all come down and claim the backfield once I pushed you back.
Yeah.
So,
but
Dreadnought couldn't pass saves to save its life, unfortunately, and Eldar being Eldar would be like, oh, we just break all the standard rules and have 7 different rules per different unit.
It did kind of feel like that. It's kind of the sort of game where your dice are going well, your special rules are working as they should, and you just feel like, I'm almost being a douche here. I'm not cheating, but I almost feel like I am because it's fallen into place.
You were cheating. You were playing Eldar.
Says the guy who didn't have a single troops unit on the board.
Well, that's because I've got a special detachment. It's not even a good detachment, it's an ancient detachment. You know.
I know, but good times, good times. And that Space Wolf list, that's going to be evolving, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I'm going to drop the Commie Flamers and Commie Plasmas to put another unit of Wulfen in, and a second Dreadnought. So the Wulfen become the murder pack, which will give me better results, more results that I want on the table, and more Wulfen, because they actually did really well. They actually survived up really well.
Yeah, they took a lot of fire. It was only once they were in the open, doomed, and had 2 jet bikes and an aspect unit firing at them that they went down. So, so really can't complain. The Wulfen did good.
Walking them doesn't seem like a bad idea, as long as my rest of my army is fast enough to get ahead of them. So.
Yeah, you had the Thunderwolves that kept a lot of the fire off the Wulfen, whereas if you'd ran the Wulfen with other units that weren't like as scary as Thunderwolves, I'd have been able to concentrate on them, because I had to deal with the Thunderwolves because they were up in my face first.
And technically they were no slower than the Thunderwolves, because they're in combat the same turn.
Yeah, exactly. They were a little bit behind them, but with their charge bonuses and that,
Yeah, the run charge is really good.
So. Definitely. That's one of the few proper assault units that don't have like cavalry or jump packs that I'd run without a transport.
Yeah, I mean they just work. If they hit something, it dies generally. It wasn't until sort of the end of the game though, when my luck sort of started to swing back, and my Wolflord, like the turn my Wolflord charged Die Avenger, it's like, oh, I've got 6 attacks at strength 5, and I'm just like, a wound. Have 1 wound.
But them's the dice, mate. Them's the dice.
But then he went on to go, oh, is that Farseer dead? 1 shot.
Jet bike squad dead. Run off the board. You know, he certainly didn't do bad once he got there.
Unfortunately, he was standing in his own front of the squad and just going, well, shit now.
Anyway, this is getting to be a bit of a long intro, outro, I guess. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so thanks a lot for watching. Thanks for a good game, Sam. And we'll see you guys again soon. Bye.